popping up. We popping up. We popping up. System K versus Kev in the building. Uh, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening, people? It is your boy 6MK live coming at you once again, popping up. As you already heard, the possible things that have happened, and a lot of people are pretty upset after the Falcons versus Carolina game, in which the Falcons got towed out the frame 30 to nothing. It's a lot of crashing out going on right now, man. As you already heard earlier today, you already heard your thoughts from Mad Mike Sports as well as Truth. So I thought, in my personal way, I would give you my thoughts on the crash out. But before we do that, like I said, if you're new to the channel and you watching, make sure you go and hit them buttons, hit that subscribe button, as well as hit the like button. Share this to your peoples, your baby mamas, your parents, your parole officers, the neighborhood dog, everybody up. But before I start, like I said, there's some NFL news that doesn't, like I said, Smooth C78 just here said. Your boy Yahweh Cool, after being cut by the Falcons, is on the New York Giants practice squad, so he's got a little bit of thing going on there. Shout out to him. But let me go ahead and just give my opinion on this right quick. Like I said, man, this is just out of the blue here. Um, After this loss, like I said, it is Tuesday. A lot of people are still kind of grieving over this loss. Like I said, you see big platforms like ESPN and 92.9 The Game, and we got 680 fan already kind of giving their thoughts about, is Raheem Morris capable of leading this team to the promised land. D Sloan, what's going on, man? Said K Styles got to bounce back week 4 with a lot of elevating that is needed to be done. Y'all also know the news is I hear you gets fired as the wide receiver coach, and Zach Robinson is getting moved down to the field from the booth, which is a very interesting move to make, from the simple fact that in 2024, which was last year, y'all, by the way, Zach Robinson started off in the booth and ended up moving on the field after week 3. That is interesting. That is very interesting. But is Raheem Morris' seat on the Inferno side of the game? And for the Rahimothy fans, for the Rahimathys, the reality of this whole situation is, yes, Raheem Morris is on the hot seat right now. Not because of just the team failures, because like you said, that loss was a failure on everybody, not just Raheem Morris. But I'm gonna take a page out of OG Truth's book. Sometimes you just gotta know when to shut the fuck up. Let me say that again. You gotta know when to shut up. A lot of people right now, especially people, like I said, we got a lot of flack this off season about Raheem Morrison. We, like I said, me, Mad Mike Sports, the tactician, OG Sam, OG Truth hurts. We caught a lot of flack about that. Um, but in this particular game that we saw, it looked like it was one of those fuck it games. Um, and unfortunately, the Falcons didn't capitalize on the easy matchup. This is one of the reasons why a lot of the fans are upset with Mr. Raheem Morris, because regardless on if we want to blame Zach Zach Robinson as the play caller, we want to blame Ike Hilliard for the offensive struggles. At the end of the day, the head coach is the overseer of the team, which means that regardless on who is the coordinators and such, the final say so on the field is the head coach. Now, do I agree that Ike Hilliard should be fired? Should have been fired? No. Why? Because this was the same guy who was the wide receivers coach for the Atlanta Falcons in 2024. If you don't know the numbers of the said wide receiver room in 2024, let me read them out to you. Drake London, close to 1,300. Darnell Mooney, close to 1,000. Ray McLeod, or as we like to say, Ray Magoof, close to 800 yards receiving. Kyle Pitts, 604. Bijan Robinson, 431. Tyler Algier, like 110. So when you hear videos out here where they're talking about what was Ike Hilliard scapegoated into being fired, it like I said, it is justified in why people think that he was scapegoated, because this wide receiver core was considered going into 2025 as one of the best wide receiving cores in the NFL. Now, what has been the struggles for said Falcons offensively so far in 2025? You have a new quarterback, and I will say this, and I'm gonna say this. Let me make sure I say this straight ahead, just to give you my opinion on this. This was the first game. This is the first time we see Michael Penix look like a rookie, mental wise and play wise. This is the first time we seen him as a rookie. He was missing throws all over the damn field. He kind of got a little panic. This was a statistic that was brought to my attention, is that the Carolina Panthers pressured Michael Penix on third downs. They got to him 6 out of 10 times. So that means Penix got hit at least 6 times throwing the football. Ghost Pepper asks, letting go of Ike Hilliard, how does this improve our offense? Like I said, the head coach is the overseer of the team. Like I said, the thing is right now, we're at a point where we don't know. Like I said, with them moving TJ Yates as the wide receivers coach, as well as being the pass game coordinator, they are hoping that TJ Yates' relationship with Michael Penix, being the quarterbacks, one of the quarterback guys, can translate to the wide receiver room. This is what I think why this move was made in that aspect. But I want to ask y'all a question, and I brought this attention to the fellas earlier today. I said it's interesting that every hire prior to Raheem Morris is still on the team, but every hire that Raheem Morris recommended has either been fired or on the hot seat. Leo said this was, oh shit, I can't take accountability move by Raheem glazed ankles Morris. Yeah. I think he's really feeling the hot seat right now because it's a lot of coaching moves being made, and we're only going into week 4 at this aspect, so it looks like it's a lot of panic moves being made right now. Now, like I said, when we look at wide receiver coaches, you think that those are guys that can help translate things to the wide receivers. And like I said, if that is the case where the wide receivers feel whatever. But the thing is that we also have to take account to that situation is you got wide receivers dropping passes every week. Now, could this be the fact that they're not used to catching footballs from a left-handed quarterback? I'll be honest with you. I think that's bullshit. I think if you really got hands like that, you should be able to pinpoint the ball right then and there, regardless on who is throwing it to you. Because it's the same object. Like I said, it does have a different spin. Like I said, I'm not a professional football player, so I'm just giving my thoughts as a fan here. And also a guy who also played too. And me being kind of left-handed, you kind of already used to the both sides of things. Um, like I said, me honestly, this and all these press conferences coming out where you got Penix and you got Bijan Robinson in the 2 losses, both of these guys saying they weren't prepared, while you also have the head coach saying that they were prepared, yet they were running stuff that they weren't prepared for. The Atlanta Falcons fans have a right to be concerned in what the direction of what this team is supposed to be in this season, because this is a season where it's supposed to be a playoff year. It's supposed to be a playoff year. It's supposed to be a year where we take it to the next level. And it just seems like shit is going backwards. It just looks like something is off. Drake London, like I said, Drake London dropping passes. He looks disengaged half the time. Like I said, Penix looks scared to throw the ball in the middle at times too. Like I said, you have Darnell Mooney who's coming off an injury. We already know it's going to take a while for him to get back into the thick of things. You got Ray McLeod. Like I said, that's Rufus boy, so we already know what the fuck that going on with. And we have an imbalance offensively that is not standing up to par to what people expected it to be in 2025. We just got off a Carolina game where the quote-unquote one of the best running back tandems in Bijan and Tyler Algier combined for 14 rushes for 77 yards. When you have a quarterback that is as young as a Michael Penix, yes, we love what he can do. We love the potential. But the thing about it is you can't live on that potential as of right now until he gets acclimated into the speed of the game as a starter starting off the year, and especially being a starter where people already have film on him. See, my thing with Zach Robinson, see, like I said, I look at Zach Robinson and I'm looking at it like this. We can't say Zach Robinson is an issue in which he was the first time play caller for an offense that was literally one spot out of being top 5 in the NFL last year. So I don't know. I don't know if they added some new wrinkles. I don't know if somebody up top or something like, oh, we got to do something a little bit different here. That all comes down to the head coach. The head coach has to be the overseer. He has to steer the ship. If you see the ship goes wrong, we gotta adjust to it. And it's very interesting to me as well as when we look at these situations. This is why Raheem Morris is getting a lot of flack from Falcon fans right now, because the expectations is not being met for what the team was supposed to be going into week 4. J did Southside, Xavier Littman, what's going on? D Coleman, what's happening? What's happening? Strapped up 24, Christy Lewis, what's going on? The biggest issue that's going on right now is this team doesn't know what it wants to be, and it seems like it's trying to appease the appease the favor of everybody. And what's happening right now is, with you trying to appease everybody, you don't have an identity for your damn self, and it's looking like a problem starting off the 2025 season. Tell me if I'm lying, y'all. And these are words quoted by 1/4 of the heavy hitters, Utah Sports. You have no identity, you have no consistency, you have no chance of winning. Gemini Man said the only thing ATL is consistent at is being inconsistent. I hate that quote, but the reality of it is that quote actually holds some truth to it, because, like I said, you do not have any consistency of what this team is supposed to be. If you see your young quarterback struggling, you know what that says to me? You have the best running back tandem in the league, and that needs to be the vocal point of the team. It ain't. It's no reason that your number one running back average almost 6 yards a clip with 13 rushes. Hey, let me speak on this part right here. So the other news that came out yesterday was, I want to ask everybody that's in here right now, how do you feel about Zach Robinson moving from the booth to the field? I want to ask that question again. Falcon fans, how do you feel about Zach Robinson, offensive coordinator, calling plays from the booth to the field? Give about 30 seconds. I want to see how a lot of people feel about that. D. Coleman said Raheem go run out of motherfuckers to 5 by week 9. I have a thought on that too, but like I said, I just want to get some answers on this. Why I said that, Mike text me in the background talking about what the fuck you doing. That mother he kissed my ass. How about that? So is everybody scared to answer that question? The new news that came out yesterday was Zach Robinson is going to be calling plays on the sideline instead of the booth. I did a little research on that. This was the same exact shit that happened last year. For those that forgot about last year, Zach Robinson was calling plays out the booth the first 3 games of the year until game 4 when they told him to get on the field. Let me ask y'all another question, since y'all don't want to answer that question. Why is the same process being repeated all over again? You start a guy in the booth, things ain't going well, move him to the field. Going to 2025, start in the booth, things ain't going well, move him to the field. What are we doing here, people? If Zach Robinson was more effective as a play caller on the field in 2024, why in the fuck is he in the booth in 2025? Especially last year when being a first-time offensive coordinator / play caller. What are we doing here, people? We're upset right now because we got our asses handed to us by a team that shouldn't have beat us in the first place. This is what all the crash out shit is about. And on a real note here, this is Kev talking right here. I believe Raheem Morris right now seat is on an inferno pace right now. The reason why I say it's on an inferno pace is because the very same media who had his back has now turned on him and are questioning can he even do his damn job? Let me say that again for the people that's in the back. The very people who were in Raheem Morris's corner are now questioning whether he is capable of being the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. There's a problem right there. Do I want Raheem Morris to succeed as the head coach of this Atlanta Falcons team? Of course. But sometimes it's questionable stuff. It's questionable shit at the wrong time. Is that what makes people look at like, nigga, can you even really do your job? Let me give an example. Communication issues going into these huddles and getting these plays out. As the overseer of the company or the overseer of the team, it is your job to sort that shit out or have a game plan for just in case if shit goes wrong. That's one thing. Two, it's the third week in a row. And this was pointed out by D Cole. This was pointed out by the subscribers. This was the third week in a row that the Atlanta Falcons offense had a delay of game after a timeout. That's a communication issue as well. And that's not just a communication issue from the offensive coordinator to the quarterback, but that's a communication issue going from the head coach to everybody else. So for the Rahimathes out there that is upset, that a lot of people are upset at Raheem Morris right now, it's justified. Why? Because the expectations for this Falcons team was to take it to the next level and get to the playoffs. This is the expectation. And this was an expectation that he signed up for. He was the one that said, we're only a quarterback away. So he ended up getting two. He said, we're going to outrun the South. But we ended the season 8-9 and missed the playoffs. A lot of these press conferences with Raheem Morris is he fucks his own situation up by talking too much or saying the wrong stuff at the wrong time. We're at a point right now where he has a lot of the major media people or the major like Raheem supporters looking at him saying, dude, you is not fit for this job. And it's very interesting that we in the Unholy Alliance had to literally go through a whole off season talking about the pros and cons of this guy and literally getting a lot of flack for it, just to turn around and these same motherfuckers giving us flack for it now turn around saying that this nigga is incapable of doing his job. Make that shit make sense. But like I said, man, this is the backlash of the Falcons not handling business in Carolina and getting their asses towed out the frame by not being prepared to face a team that had nothing to lose while looking ahead to a marquee matchup. It don't work like that. Bruce Lee, one of his best quotes, never take your eyes off your opponent even if you bow. You never look past anybody. But can his seat get cooled off? Yes, it can. But the thing about it is, it's going to have to come into a time where now these next few games, Washington, Buffalo, San Francisco, are going to be crucial games. And I'm going to be honest. If we don't see the improvement, it's going to be a lot of coaching changes coming up soon. And the thing about it is, if it's not a lot of improvement, Zach Robinson is going to be the next one, and then eventually it's going to be Raheem himself. This is the truth. Expectations comes with rewards and consequences. If there's an expectation that this fan base, Arthur Blank, this Falcons media, this Falcon content space looked at this team coming into 2025 was that this team was ready to take it to the next level with the quarterback situation the way we had it, the amount of players we brought in, and this team looks more confused than ever. This team looks so confused, it makes the 2021 Falcons look better than them. Do I need to say that again for the people in the back? Right now, the confusion of what the Atlanta Falcons have shown in 2025 makes this team look more inferior than the 2021 Falcons. That's not a good look, y'all. That's not a good look. So, the thing about it is, while we're crashing out, being all upset after this game, the time is now for this team to start taking it in the right direction and start making that run we need them to make. And if they don't, it's a lot of folks' head gonna be rolling. And we just gonna sit here and have our popcorn ready, just waiting for the show to start. So, got a few more minutes. I'm also gonna plug in the heavy hitters is going to be coming on tonight instead of Wednesday night. Like I said, we have a special. We possibly may have a special guest representing the Washington Commanders. So y'all stay tuned for that. So we're gonna go ahead and set up some questions. So I'm going to be waiting here for the next couple minutes. And if we ain't getting no questions in the next couple minutes, we getting the hell up on out of here. Oh boy. Where my drink at? I'm sick of this. Let's see, go through some of these comments. D. Coleman here said Raheem gonna run out of. Yeah, I said that already. George Test Boy said it's like Zach hasn't improved from last season. The biggest difference between last season and this season, you have an experienced quarterback versus a young quarterback. And as much shit as we talked about Kirk Cousins, he still has the experience. Experience trumps talent, y'all. So experience is going to be able to get these guys to be in focus and in motion quicker than a guy who has no experience but a lot of talent. D. Coleman said, just the way it started, this smells like a downward spiral. Losing to Quinn, Mariota, and Washington for the 5th straight year is a diabolical look. And like I said, that's not going to be just on Raheem, but like you said, that's just going to be on the franchise itself. Let me see. 1, 3, 2, 1. All right. So since we don't have really that many questions going on here, I'm gonna go ahead and get up on out of here. I thought I just wanted to give a quick thought on this. Like I said, man, we got the heavy hitters live. 9:05 coming up tonight. Like I said, we got an interview. We got a discussion going on with some peoples from the Washington Commanders. So I'm gonna let you get your afternoons back. We out here, y'all. Deuces.